Some people who allow the drift to go apart and they get busy with the life, with the work, with the kids, and by the time they have an empty nest, they have an empty marriage they find too.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to the workshop, and we are here with just the guys of A Better Us. Now, the girls do their thing called Just Us Girls, and we get to hang out once in a while, just us guys, and we're doing it today in the workshop. It's a good spot.
I think they did theirs at like poolside or in the backyard or something that they showing that they like to relax, but we like to get work done, right?
Hey, we get work done in the workshop. Home improvement we're talking about.
Yes.
And your family life, marriage, and giving some tools maybe to help along the way.
I think in essence that we probably have more work to do and they're relaxing because they are a little bit ahead of us.
That's right. We've got the work to do. We've got to sand off some of our rough edges, I think so. But that teaching that we just heard there from Johnny Parker, it's challenging for us because drift happens. Every marriage, it starts out so strong and you're together and you're one, and you're in the honeymoon phase, and then more of life happens, and you get busy, and work, and kids come along, and responsibility piles on, and there's different things that can just kind of cause you to drift apart. But we need to make sure that we don't let that happen, or if we notice it, how do we get it back? And so some good thoughts there.
I loved the last name acrostic. Put values in that, so you can remember them easily. I loved that because once we kind of define our values, then we need to create disciplines around them so that we can have this outcome that becomes intentional, something we did together, intentional over being accidental. It's something that we can be proud of, something that we actually worked together towards, and it brings us back to that we choose what matters most. We choose these values that we're prioritizing together, and I really liked it. So Kara and I are going to do that with the last name values, and I don't know if it'll go in the kitchen, but somewhere we can see it.
Look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
He might steal it from you. You have the same last name.
Same last name. Yeah, no, hey, it's got to be different.
I'll let you do the work.
It's got to be.
You're in the workshop for that one.
I really love the idea of the last name as well. When we talk about this, we talk about it almost as a foregone conclusion. I haven't felt a lot of drift in our marriage, though, but we have done some things from the beginning. Certainly, there are times where you wish you had more family time, and she writes me a letter, right? When she kind of lets me know when there's a handwritten letter on the pillow. Yes. Pillow 12.
That'll get that'll get your attention right there.
Yes. So, and so she'll give me a little handwritten letter when things are a little bit out of rhythm, but I wouldn't say as far as drift, right? But because we have put things in place. So we actually give our marriage a grade from 1 to 10 every anniversary. And that's something that we've done since our very first anniversary. And an anniversary, you don't want to be mad, right?
No.
So it's, you easily forgive yourselves, right, on that day, right? But we go out to a dinner and we do that, and then there's other things. So
then in that, because I'm curious about that, because if the number maybe isn't as high, close to 10 as you think it should be,
right,
then I guess you have to figure out, okay, what steps, what values, core values maybe do we have to address to get it closer to where we think it needs to be.
So in fact, further in that conversation, we talk about what we like, what we didn't like. We talk about what we could do better, what we want more of, what we could use less of, right? So we talked to all of those things. And then we moved on to talking about each one of our kids, right? As well as they began to grow. And so we had that conversation. And then our anniversaries in June, and then we naturally have that sort of same seems not as detailed, more personal and inspirational, but we do the same thing in January. So kind of 6 months sort of apart, but we have other things that we built in, especially when our kids were younger, because we are so busy. We traveled 4 weeks a year, right? 2 weeks was in Florida with our family, and then 2 weeks was somewhere else, so that we had time just dedicate. So we had a busy life, but we were able to kind of do some other things because of this busyness, to build those different things in life to settle us and to ground us.
Help avoid that drift. That's good. That's good.
I like where he said about kind of a weekly readdressing of it. And I was kind of thinking of that as maybe it could be even on a date night, a weekly date night. I've heard somewhere before that making sure you have a weekly date night is cheaper than hiring a divorce lawyer. Okay. Like whatever you're going to spend on date nights, like add it all up, it's still going to be cheaper than a divorce lawyer. So you make sure you have that time to kind of refocus, call it back in. Actually, I was thinking it's kind of like a huddle, right? Because on a football team, I know we're doing the workshop thing and not the football thing, but it's kind of like a huddle. On a football team, everyone's got their job, and they can be out thinking about their job. Okay, my job is to get that guy or to stay on him or whatever. But you have a huddle for a second, and it's like you take from your individual things you're all doing, and you bring it back in, and you refocus on the main. This is the main mission of what we're doing right here. So I think that's what it's like. You're calling back to your core values and your core mission, and it's like a reset. And it's like no matter what we're all doing. At the core, it's go team. It's go team, and we're a team as a couple in a marriage or on a football team. So and also the other thing that date night does is it kind of like reminds you of why you got married in the first place. Because when drifts can happen, you can get busy in life, you can get busy doing this and that and the other thing, and you come back together and you try and kind of rekindle that, a little bit of that spark that you had, and you see your spouse, in different terms, not as we're doing the work of life together, but we're out enjoying life together, and get that little bit of glimpse of reminder of why you said I do in the first place. But yeah, that weekly calling back, that huddle to your core values and what's I know we're running and we're doing all this, but this is what it's about. This is what we're about at the core. This is why we're doing all these things, and go team.
Right. If we can expound on that.
Yeah, because football way better than me. I'm a new football fan.
So there are times where things are more crazy, and you can't huddle, right? They call it the hurry up. And so they actually call the plays, the signals, the directions at the line of scrimmage, right? And so, I think when we have a really mature relationship, even when things get busy, right, we can still call out the instructions. We can still make the adjustments, even when we're busy and on the run, right? And it actually can be some of our most productive times during our relationship.
Good. Call the audible at the line of scrimmage. I like it.
There you go. Yeah.
But there are so many, I guess to use the drift analogy, so many currents out there that are trying to drag us one way or another. And when a boat is in the currents, it'll just keep drawing you away. And if there's the two boats, it'll go farther and farther apart. But if you have an anchor, you tether together. And I think you mentioned this in a previous program. You tether your boats together, and then you put an anchor, and the anchor could be the core values. It could be your faith in God. I think one of the greatest things that we can all have is to develop our spiritual life together, and to pray together, to have a time, whether it's daily or it's just a regular time where you can get together as a couple, and there's some great couples devotionals out there. That's an anchoring time right there, because God is the ultimate anchor. That when you talk about core values, like if your core, if He is at the core of your life, that is the best anchor to ever have. Yeah. Because some people who allow the drift to go apart, and they get busy with the life, with the work, with the kids, and by the time they have an empty nest, they have an empty marriage that they find too. Yeah. And so it's so important to refocus, to have that core, to have spiritual life together.
To tap into a source that is eternal. To tap into a love that is eternal. That's wisdom right there.
Absolutely. Avoiding drift in marriage, that's a good thing. And so there's some good tools there from the workshop here for you today. Thanks, guys. It's been good in the workshop. Don't go away. More Better Us to come.